possible. If you try and be patient, it pays off while you're waiting. The seeds you water will grow, the rest will follow. Cause this life's what you make it, and some rules are for breaking. Destiny will play its role, you know. What's meant to be will be, even when it's not easy. Live your life free, no boundaries, even when it's not easy. If you give love, you get love. If you give up, you get nothing. Can't you see? If you just believe anything's possible, don't rush too much. When it gets rough, get tough, sing with me. Through everything, anything is possible. Doesn't always make sense why some things gotta happen. Fight through the rain, cause you know the sun will follow. If you practice persistence, somebody's gonna witness. You're working hard and it shows, you know. What's meant to be will be, even when it's not easy. Live your life free, no boundaries, even when it's not easy. If you give love, you get love. If you give up, you get nothing. Can't you see? If you just believe anything's possible, don't rush too much. When it gets rough, get tough, sing with me. Through everything, anything is possible. Are you ready to go? I've waited for a long time. I must be out of my mind. Now I'm ready for this to start. When the lights go out, it's so dark. When the moment comes, you'll find the part. Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go? Are you ready to go?
Hello, everyone, and welcome to our December Cub Scout Roundtable. I'm Vinnie Close, Assistant Council Commissioner for Roundtable Program and Support for Great Trail Council, and we're happy that you've joined us tonight. We've got a lot to cover as we usually do, so let's get started like we always do with the Pledge of Allegiance, the Scout Oath, and the Scout Law. And leading us in that tonight, in honor of our guest speakers, we have Scouts with us from Pack 3001 and Troops 1 and 7001 in West Akron.
I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Scout Oath. On my honor, I will do my best to do my duty to God and my country, to obey the Scout Law, to help other people at all times, to keep myself physically strong, mentally awake, and morally straight.
Scout Law. A scout is trustworthy, loyal, helpful, friendly, courteous, kind, obedient, cheerful, thrifty, brave, clean, and reverent. 2.
All right, up next is our membership moment. Up next is our safety moment. We'll get to the membership moment in a second. This month, appropriate for the cold and snow that's happening outside right now, we want to talk about winter activity safety. Now, there is magic to scouting activities in winter. It is some of the most challenging outdoor adventures, but also the most fun. However, potentially extreme weather conditions, cold temperatures, and unique hazards associated with outdoor winter activities require careful planning to ensure safety. Keeping warm is the most important part of cold weather camping and outdoor activities. We've got a slide we're going to put up now that talks about using the cold method to stay warm. So, first up is the letter C for clean. Insulation is only effective when the insulating layers are kept clean and fluffy. Dirt, grime, and sweat can reduce the ability of a garment to keep you warm. O is for overheating. Avoid overheating by adjusting the layers of your clothing to keep from sweating during warmer temperatures. Stay hydrated by drinking plenty of water. And avoid energy drinks. Now, sports drinks like Gatorade are okay though. L is for loose layers. A steady flow of warm blood is essential to keeping all parts of your body heated. Wear several loosely fitting layers of clothing and footwear that will allow maximum insulation without blocking your circulation. Having clothing that is brightly colored, like orange or red, is also a good idea so that others in the area, like sportsmen, can see you in snowy conditions. And yes, Mom was right, always wear a hat. And D is for dry. Sweaty, damp clothing and skin can cause your body to cool very quickly, possibly leading to frostbite and or hypothermia. Keep dry by avoiding clothes that absorb moisture. Always brush snow off your clothes before you enter a heated area. Keep the clothing around your neck loose so that body heat and moisture can escape instead of soaking through the layers. Eating the right type of food when camping or playing in the cold is also important. One of the best ways to remember what is appropriate to eat when you are spending time outside in the cold weather is to use good nutrition to build the fire within the same way that you would build a campfire. Make sure your food consumption includes sugars, which act like a fire starter. So yeah, go ahead and nosh on some M&Ms and raisins. Carbohydrates and proteins, which act as kindling, and fats that produce the energy needed to keep the fire burning and your body running at peak performance. Hydration is as important in winter as it is in the summer. Drink when you're thirsty. Plan on hydration stops hourly. Water or sports drinks that contain some sugar and electrolytes, like we said Gatorade, are good for hydration, but you really should avoid energy drinks. All right, we want to welcome those of you that have joined us online. We're happy that you've joined us out in this cold weather that we're having it out tonight. To help us track attendance, share your pack number and city in the live chat, and maybe we'll even give you a shout out a little later on tonight. All right. Up next is our membership moment where we're going to talk about using your Pinewood Derby as a recruiting event. Have you ever considered using the Pinewood Derby as a recruitment activity? Most packs hold the Pinewood Derby early in the calendar year when packs don't usually think about recruitment. But there are a lot of young boys and girls who would love to be a part of this exciting activity, so it only makes sense to use it as recruitment. So here's how to do it. Invite your Cub Scouts and their parents to invite their friends of scouting age and their families to your Pinewood Derby. Pick up some additional Pinewood Derby kits and ask a couple of parents to make extra cars or two in preparation for the event. Or you can ask your Scouts to bring in their old cars from previous years so that they can be used for new potential members. The day of the event, when friends arrive, let them pick one of those extra cars and race it in your special friends and family races. During the competition, the parents of current Scouts should visit with the prospective Scout parents like neighbors. The conversations can include why the Scouting parents like the unit. Make sure that you have trophies or awards on hand for your friends and family racers as well as your Cub Scouts. When you give them their award, and this is important, make sure that you also give their parents a Cub Scout application and pack information sheet at the same time. Now that they've seen how much fun Cub Scouting can be, they will be more excited to want to join your pack. You can also plan other events such as normal friend activities. These are things that are like non-uniformed events like picnics in the park, so that parents will have an opportunity to learn more. Sometimes those normal friend activities can be more successful than even a regular open house. Following up after each event helps the prospective families feel welcome and included. And most importantly, have fun with this. All right, next I want to introduce Becky Voris, who is an assistant council commissioner like me, who heads up our Women's Advisory Committee and wants to talk about some of the great programs and resources that they have available to female scouts and scouters in our council. Welcome, Becky.
Hi, Vinnie.
Thank
Thanks for having me.
Thank you for making it out in this weather. So
Yeah,
we're happy to
glad to be here.
Happy to have you here. So you can stand on the mark there and tell them all about the WAC committee.
Okay, and my name again is Becky Voris, and I'm Assistant Council Commissioner, and I am the chair of WAC, which stands for the Women's Advisory Committee. And we exist to provide support and mentorship and development to those female scouts and leaders in our council. And we really have a great representation of female scouts and leaders in our council. And we continue to grow in number, so it's very exciting.
Okay. And make sure my mic was turned back on.
Okay.
Okay, that's great. So I've worked with your committee before. You helped us start a girl troop in Brunswick, which we're happy that you gave us our help with. So what are some of the resources that are available for on the Cub side? If I'm a female den leader or even a female Cub master or a female Cub Scout, what are some of the resources and things that you have available for the females on the Cub side?
Yeah. Well, we want to do the best we can to provide the resources, tools, and confidence that the female scouts and leaders in your pack as we can give. And that's what we're here for. And we, some things, I guess some examples might be some hands-on experience on learning and using new scout skills. We also can help with meeting ideas and just basic meeting organization and den meeting ideas, things like that. So we're here for that. And also we're eager to work with you to make sure that your AOLs and even your Webelos are being connected with the troops in your area so that they can continue on with scouting.
Yeah, you actually brought up the next question, which I was going to ask, which is for the Webelos and Arrow Flights, there's obviously not as many girl troops as there are boy troops. Right. So if you happen to be in an area that the nearest girl troops might be 10, 15 miles away,
right.
What are some of the ways that they can at least know that these troops exist? Because the troops themselves may not even be thinking to go that far out to try and recruit some of these Webelos and AOLs.
Right, and that has become a problem, and it certainly is an issue that WAC is working with the council together to make sure that we know where all of the existing troops are and who all of their contacts are there, their leadership, so that we can make sure that you can get a chance to check out all of the different troops and at least try and see what's in your area. And like I said, we're growing in numbers, so we're hoping that problem won't be around for long.
Okay, yeah, that's great, because the important thing here is follow beascout.org. You can search for girl troops in your area. We've talked to all of the girl troops and the boy troops as well to make sure that their unit PIN is up to date so that if you are searching that you're going to find a unit that is closest to you. Anything else? We don't have any questions. It doesn't look like on the chat. So thank you for coming out.
Sure. Well, I just want to mention one thing.
Yes, please.
We are working to get a web page together that will be that you can access through the Great Trail Council website. And so on that are going to be some great resources, all of our contact information, most likely photos of all the work that we're doing so that you're staying current. And so please be looking for that. And I think that'll help also get you connected with troops in the area. I think it's going to be a big help to our council.
Yeah, we are working on it currently. So in the coming weeks and months, check Great Trail social media, your district social media. We'll have postings on there announcing when those web pages are live. So,
okay.
Becky, thank you for
Yeah,
coming
thanks,
out. We're
Vinnie.
happy that you could make it.
Appreciate it.
All
Okay.
right. Okay. Next up is a familiar face to Great Trail Council, and those of you that religiously watch GTC TV. Nate Watson, our council's Director of Camping and Programs, who is going to talk about the range and target activities available. Actually, I'm going to correct that there. The updates to the range and target activities that are available to Cub Scouts in 2025 as part of the adventure fee. So, Nate, thank you for coming.
Of course.
Glad you could make it all the way down the hallway to here. So,
Awesome. Well, thank you very much, Vinnie. So I just wanted to start with saying that the council, the Great Trail Council Range and Target Activities Committee, has been working very hard to establish some dates for programs next year. Those dates are still a little bit in flux because of an update that's on this sheet of paper right here. So moving forward with that, all of our Great Trail Council camp operations will be certified as continuous short-term camps moving forward. What that means is that that will give us an opportunity to allow additional range and target activity programs to occur at all of our camps. So Camp Stanbaugh, Camp Butler, Camp Manitowoc, all of those will be a great opportunity for you to have a range and target activity program. All of our range operations will continue to operate under the National Range and Targets Activities Manual and following the Great Trail Council standard operating procedures. For a PAC to be able to participate in one of these continuous short-term camp programs, they must have an overnight reservation at one of our camps. So if you have a cabin reservation at Camp Stanbaugh, say you rented a Aquila cabin, that would work. Manitowoc, Legion Lodge, or Butler, maybe you do some tent camping. Those would be great opportunities. Only Great Trail Council trained range masters will be able to provide these programmings during these short-term camps. The Great Trail Council camp masters will serve as the administrators of these programs. So the lovely camp masters that you see when you check in at the Butler Director's Cabin, Manitowoc Administration Building, or at the Eagle Lodge over at Camp Stanbaugh, those people will be the ones helping to make sure that everything is happening as it should. And last but not least, we have training available for our range and target sports for the GTC Rangemaster. We currently have 4 trainings available. The first one is coming up on January 11th at Camp Stanbaugh. And then on January 18th, we have one at Camp Manitowoc. And then on February 22nd and March 8th, both of those will be at Camp Stanbaugh. Once those get going and if they get filled up, we'll be adding some additional trainings on there. But for your PAC to be able to participate in one of these short-term camp programs, you will need to provide Great Trail Council trained range masters. So keep that in mind as you're looking at it. Those dates are available. They are on the council calendar if you don't currently have any trained range masters, but we'd be happy to have you out there and to help deliver that promise that we make to all these scouts about going out there and having some fun at our range and target areas.
Okay, that is a big change from what it was before. So does this mean then that there's not going to be the council organized range and target sports activities like we had in 2024?
So we will actually still have a few of those events.
Okay.
Right now, our current calendar had about 21 of those. We're going to drop that number down because, like I said, for this, you have to have an overnight reservation. And we know some of our Cub Scout packs just don't have the opportunity to go camping. So for them to be able to participate in range and target activities, we will have anywhere between 5 and 8 dates next year in 2025 for our scouts to still be able to go and participate in those programs.
Okay, so just to clarify, if you're coming out for the weekend and you're staying on property, whether it's a cabin or tent camping, as long as you've got range masters lined up, you can do range and target activities at Manitowoc, Butler, Stanbaugh.
Correct. As long as the space is available.
As long as space is available. So there'll be reservations, obviously, for that. And if for whatever reason you're not camping at one of those properties, they could still come out at one of the council-organized events, just
Correct.
like always.
Yes.
And same activities, BBs, wrist rockets, and archery
Yep,
are the 3?
all 3 of them.
And they're going to be offered at both Butler and Stanbaugh?
Yep, they'll be offered.
Will they be also offered at Manitowoc?
Yes. So
Okay.
all 3 of our camps will be able to have any of the range activities for the Cub Scouts. So BBs, archery, and wrist rockets will be a great opportunity for them.
Okay, that's good to hear. Yeah, because it's always a popular event. I just took the training a couple weeks ago myself, so
Awesome.
looking forward to helping out at these events. And like Nate said, if you want to take the training, it was what, 4 or 5 hours,
Yeah.
I think, was what it took.
Yeah, roughly. Yeah, something around there.
You come out and learn all about being able to operate the ranges, and it's good because now you can help your pack. So
One last
yes,
quick note
please,
about this.
go ahead.
So we've been working tirelessly with our National Outdoor Adventures team Bruce Hassey is one of the program specialists down at the national office. Him and I have gotten to know each other very well over the last few weeks working on this project. So this is certified by our national organization. We are able to operate this, and it's going to be a great opportunity for our Cub Scouts moving forward.
Yeah, and it's important to let the families know and the Cub leaders know that the number one priority in everything that's being done here is the safety of it all.
Yes, of
and
course.
so we will always have safety training, and we'll strike the fear of God in everybody, so you're not fooling around on the ranges, and we want everybody to not just have fun, but to have a safe experience as well.
Yes, safety is our number one concern, so we want to make sure that everyone is being safe out there.
Yeah, that's the most important. Okay, doesn't look like we have any questions from anybody online. If you do, who should they contact?
You can send me an email. It's really easy. You see my name right below me, nate.watson@scouting.org. It's pretty tough to remember, I understand, but just my first last name @scouting.org will help you out and make that work for you.
Awesome, yeah. Well, thank you for coming out, Nate. Glad you can make it. Oh, we have a question, Sherry Buck. She's got to turn her mic on first. There we go.
Do the range masters have to be Great Trail trained? We have some that took the training through Lake Erie Council.
Yes, for this program, anyone that is operating the ranges at Camp Manitowoc, Camp Butler, or Camp Stambaugh, any of the council properties, will be required to be a Great Trail Council trained range master. That's part of the stipulations of our program so that we can ensure that they have everything trained in the operation of our specific ranges. Because Beaumont might have some different ranges, Firelands might have different ranges, but we want to make sure that they have everything handled for how we operate our ranges at our Great Trail Council properties.
Now, could somebody from out of council come and take our range master training and use it at their council? Because, for instance, when I took my training a couple weeks ago, there was a person from Lake Erie Council that was taking the training with me, and he was going to do range master, I think, at Beaumont and Firelands. So is that still okay?
I would say that if that other council is accepting their registration as having a Great Trail Council training, then I think that would be perfect. It's up to that individual council. So before you sign up for our training, if you're from another council outside of Great Trail, make sure you talk to your council executives. Your camping team should be able to give you a good answer of how that would work, if they would accept our credentials or if they would not accept our credentials.
Okay. All right. Well, I think that doesn't look like there's any other questions. Again, thank you for coming out, Nate.
Of course.
Appreciate it. All right.
I'll scoot.
Yeah, thank you, Nate. Okay. Up next, I want to take a minute to talk to you about a great program run annually by our Scout Shop right next door here, and that is the Giving Tree. So during this season of giving, consider helping a local Scout. Stop by the Great Trail Scout Shop here in Stowe anytime between now through December 15th and visit the Giving Tree. We have Scouts in need of merit badge sashes, books, uniform shirts and pants, belts, even help with the adventure fee. Any amount helps. Also at the Scout Shop, the Peace Light from Bethlehem will be returning to the shop this Saturday, December 7th at 10:30 a.m. and will be there on display through December 20th. The shop also wanted to remind everybody that they will be closed between December 23rd through January 1st. And finally, they wanted to let you know that they have lots of great stocking stuffers and last-minute gift ideas for that hard-to-shop-for Scout or Scouter in your life. They're having their year-end clearance sale going on right now with up to 60% off. Just look for the yellow dots. All right, up next we have our district program moment, where we're going to take a look again at two events that are happening soon that are part of the new Adventure Fee program. They are the District Pinewood Derbies and the Cub Scout Freeze-Outs. And we've got a slide for that we'll take a look at here. There we go. All right, so save the dates for these Adventure Fee activities. First up are the Cub Freeze-Outs. Each district is holding one. Soaring Eagle is having theirs on February 1st at Camp Manitowoc. Canal is having theirs on February 1st at Camp Butler. Stambaugh is holding theirs also on February 1st at Camp Stambaugh. And Crooked River is the next week on February 8th at a location yet to be announced. Then we have the district Pinewood Derbies. We're going to talk in a few minutes about pack Pinewood Derbies, but each district is putting on a Pinewood Derby. Stambaugh is on March 15th at a location yet to be announced. Canal District is on May 3rd, also to be announced. Soaring Eagle is going to be on May 10th, and they will be at Summit Mall in Akron. And Crooked River will be on May 17th at a location yet to be announced. Now, you can get information and sign up for all of these activities at that address that you see at the bottom of the screen there for the adventure fee activities. One important thing to point out, too, with the District Pinewood Derbies, you may have known in the past that you had to qualify from your pack in order to participate in the District Derby. Because this is an adventure fee activity, they are now open to everyone, so there is no longer a qualifier necessary to participate at the district level. Everybody is welcome to attend. All right, time now for the first of our two hot topics for tonight, and it is a new video for December from the National Council covering the planning for your pack's Pinewood Derby, which hopefully your pack has already started to do. Presenting that video is our old friend Anthony Berger, the National Director of Cub Scouting.
On your mark, get set, go! It's race time. The Pinewood Derby and the Rain Gutter Regatta are two of Cub Scouting's most iconic activities. What's the purpose behind these events? How do you run a successful race? Can this activity really help your Cub Scouts do better in high school? Welcome to Roundtable as we discuss the racetime adventures for all ranks in Cub Scouting. The racetime adventures are one of several elective adventures that can be done as a pack activity. Many packs conduct the iconic Pinewood Derby, others conduct a Rain Gutter Regatta, and some even do both. The requirements for the racetime adventures are designed to make it easy for Cub Scouts to earn the adventure if the pack already conducts one of these races. In addition to the obvious experience of building a Pinewood Derby car or Rain Gutter Regatta boat, the adventure gets into the science behind what makes a Pinewood Derby car or Rain Gutter Regatta boat go. Like all good events, the first step is to set a date, time, and location. Now, a tip from the experts is to consider a date and time that allows plenty of time to set up, conduct the event, and then break down. For example, having the event on a weekend during the day may increase the number of parents who can actually help with the event. And a good location may not be your normal meeting place. These events require a lot of space, either inside or outside. I've seen a lot of races, and the ones that I find the most fun are the events that have other things going on during the race to address that downtime that happens when Cub Scouts aren't racing. I've seen snack bars, music, games, and crafts. These added activities also take up additional space that a normal meeting location may not have. Now, another thing to consider for your location is if this is an opportunity to be visible to the public. Conducting your race at a local park, a mall, or during a community event will raise awareness of Cub Scouting and could get you more families involved in your pack. Now, review the racetime adventure requirements and the recommended activities for the requirements in the Den meeting resources found on scouting.org. If you're planning the event for your pack, we would recommend reviewing the Arrow of Light racetime adventure, as it has the most requirements, and have den leaders review their rank-specific racetime adventures. You can get to the Arrow of Light racetime adventure by simply scanning this QR code. Now, a big question is, how will you conduct your race? Will it be a single elimination or double elimination? Will you race by dens? Will you conduct heats where cars race against one another, or will you determine a winner by the race time? I don't have recommendations on how you conduct your race, but I do recommend that you determine this early and that you include as many parents in the conversation when making this decision. Once you've made a decision, communicate the rules early and often. Be clear that one objective is for parents and legal guardians to spend time with their Cub Scout to make their car or boat. That adult help is expected, and it is actually a goal of conducting the race. When you make the goal of spending quality time together, everyone wins. Now, here's a common question. Is there such a thing as too much help from a parent? Well, there are two sides to this argument. On one hand, you may have parents who think that building the car or boat must be done completely by the Cub Scout alone, without help, and they're upset when they see cars or boats that are built with a lot of adult help. Now, on the other hand, you have parents who are skilled, they're enthusiastic about using their skills and tools to make projects with their children. Most parents are actually in the middle, right? We just want our children to have a good time and experience. Again, communicate early and often that Cub Scouts are expected to have help, and this is an opportunity to do a project together. Now, you can help families who don't have access to tools or equipment to have a build day. Now, a build day is when someone who has tools and equipment hosts others to come over to use them. Now, some scout shops even host build days. We're always looking for ways to make Cub Scouting fun, not just for Cub Scouts, but for parents too. And one way packs do this is to allow parents to build a car or boat and have a separate race for adults. If you choose to do this, you want to make sure that you stick to the same rules as you had for the Cub Scouts. This makes it a joint experience. Make sure that only adults race other adults. Now, you have an event that parents are looking forward to just as much as their Cub Scout. One of the requirements for a Pinewood Derby car is that it can weigh no more than 5 ounces. Now, this means having access to one or more small scales so cars can be checked in. During check-in, cars are not only weighed, but they're also checked for dimensions that are outlined in the rules, such as width and possibly height, if the car will pass under a finish line, and any other rules that were established by your pack. Now, a tip from the experts is to think through your check-in. The last thing you want is to have 30 Cub Scouts show up at the same time to have their cars checked in. Some packs address this by having a check-in a day prior to race day. This does mean that cars, once checked in, are secured until race day. Now, another way to address this is to simply be prepared. If you have a large pack, stagger check-in times and have plenty of stations to check cars in. The great thing about the Rain Gutter Regatta is that it's a lot easier to put on than a Pinewood Derby race. The Rain Gutter Regatta boats are all the same. They just need to be assembled and decorated, so there's not a lot of tools needed. The track is easy too. As the name implies, you can make a homemade track from rain gutters, or you can purchase an inflatable one at your local scout shop for about $35. Now that we covered some basics in conducting the event, let us spend some time talking about the purpose of having a race time event. I've often said that in Cub Scouting, we teach physics to kindergartners. Now, we don't call it physics, we call it the Pinewood Derby race. The basic principles of physics are taught through a fun and engaging experience. Motion, gravity, work, energy, motion, mass, power, weight, and more are all basic concepts in physics. There's a real power in having experiences as a child that can connect to concepts later in life. For example, a Cub Scout who has participated in the Pinewood Derby for 3 years can visualize from their experience their car moving down that track. They can visualize the slope, the straightaway, and they may recall their car being weighed. This experience stays with them, and when they are older and are introduced to the scientific principles that were part of the experience, they're more likely to understand those scientific principles and apply them. Now, when designing the race time adventures, we wanted to make these connections to scientific principles as part of the content and requirements. The basic principles of work, gravity, force, and friction are presented in age-appropriate manner and then connected with a real-world experience. That's what I love about scouting. It's a game with a purpose. On the surface, we are just making cars and boats and racing them. But what we're really doing is teaching Cub Scouts about science. We are spending quality time with our kids, building a lifelong love of learning in our kids, and looking for opportunities to instill the values of the Scout Oath and Scout Law. Now, it's your turn. Consider these questions for the remainder of your time together. Do you conduct a Pinewood Derby, Rain Gutter Regatta, or do you do both? What are some things you can do to make your race day special for your Cub Scouts and families? What challenges have you faced and how did you overcome them? How did you determine the winner of your races, and do you have other awards and recognition? What did you learn from this roundtable that you plan to take back to your pack? All right, that's it for this roundtable. We'll see you again at our next roundtable.
Okay, we're back. Before we go on with our panel here, Sherry Buck, you have a couple of questions that came on the chat regarding the freeze out.
I do, Vinnie. First question is, what is the freeze out? What do they do?
All right, well, the Cub Scout freeze out, the best way to describe it is it's a mini Klondike Derby. So at the Scouts BSA level, they have an entire winter camp out of fun called the Klondike Derby, where they go around and do all sorts of scout skill activities, some fun activities. They make sleds that they pull around with them. The freeze out is kind of a mini version of that. You're going to sign up for either a morning or an afternoon session. So you're talking a half day that you'll be out there. And they're going to go around and do Cub Scout appropriate mini versions of what the bigger scouts are doing. So you might have something relating to knot tying or first aid, or maybe just playing around in the snow and making snow angels. It's part scout skills, part fun. And any scout can sign up. So Sherry, there were some other questions too I think you had?
Yes, the question is, can we attend a freeze out in a different district, or do we have to stay within our own district?
You do not. You can sign up in any district that you want. I mean, of course, it's strongly preferred that you sign up in your home district, but not necessary. If you can't make it, say, the weekend that is being held in your district, or for some reason you're closer to a camp for one of the other districts, you can certainly sign up for one of those other districts as well. And
All right, we have one last question. Can individuals sign up for any freeze out, or do we have to attend as a pack?
so the answer to that is we strongly encourage that packs sign up together as a pack. Obviously, you're going to have a lot of fun in a big group, but you do not have to. You can sign up individually. The caveat to that is you're going to need to have proper supervision. So that, as always, is required. It's not a drop-off event, just like even if you went with your pack, it's not a drop-off event. We have to have proper supervision with all of the Cub Scouts. So we strongly encourage you to sign up as a pack, but if you want to just attend individually, you certainly can, provided you've got proper supervision. All right. So next, I want to introduce our two guest speakers tonight who will be talking with us on how their units do Pinewood and Blue and Gold. First, we have Nathan Steele. He is committee chairman for Pack 3001 in West Akron. Yep. And I'm going to confuse everybody here by introducing Stephen Poorman. He just goes by Poorman. He is a committee member for Troop 7001, and you're also involved with Troop 1.
And 3001.
And 3001.
And Crew 2001.
And yeah, the whole, all
I
the,
got a problem
all,
saying
the, all
no.
the ones you guys are involved in. So we just saw the video for the Pinewood Derby. So let's talk about what are some of the things that your pack does for the Pinewood? Anything special that you do?
Well, so we have a lot of younger siblings in the pack. So we do actually many times have the parents will be purchasing additional cars to build just for the younger siblings to race with.
When I was a Cub Master, we had a siblings race too.
Oh,
so,
absolutely,
it's
absolutely. And then we've usually tried to collectively build the cars as a group effort, really. Rather than send them home and hope they get built in time,
Right.
We dedicate times during the actual den meetings each week where the parents bring in tools, the church is kind enough to let us bring in jigsaws and whatnot.
Yeah.
And then this year, because the size of the pack has grown so much, we're actually working with Kent State University to use their makerspace.
Oh, nice.
To pick a dedicated day on a Saturday to go in so that the scouts themselves can actually do the drawings on the car of what they want cut out, hand it to the parents who can use the full-size band saws.
Sure.
That way we could try to get it taken care of a little bit quicker and make sure that there's not going to be any one youth showing up with the block of wood that they just never got to even get the opportunity to build.
Right, yeah, and you may have case situations where maybe families don't have power or hand tools.
Absolutely.
So having a group activity like that gives them an opportunity to get their cars cut without having the tools that are there. So You do a siblings race, usually.
Yep.
It sounds like you're
Yep.
going to have one this year with the number of
Oh, yes.
scouts that you have. Any other races? Do you do an adult race? The video talked about having an adult race.
We have often talked about it. In our case, because we were so focused in the last few years of trying to get all of the youth participant cars completed, most parents just didn't find the time. However, we think by going to that dedicated makerspace this year, having that dedicated day, multiple hours to get it done, I definitely know there's a number of parents who have been talking about exactly how much of cheating can we do. And,
Right, yeah.
Steve was pointing out no incendiary devices
Inside the building.
inside the building.
No model rocket engines.
Parking
attached
lot
to the
is
car,
fair game.
but so this might be the year we get to finally bring that back. It's been a number since there was an adult race held.
Yeah. And advice to the kids, you can never have enough graphite on the axles. If your hands are not black, you don't have enough graphite on the axles.
Absolutely.
It actually does make a difference. I've seen in the past cars that don't make the finish line, and then as soon as you put the graphite on, they're flying.
That's actually one of the things we do at check-in is actually require them to do a test run to make sure it makes it to the end of the track,
Right.
so that they don't have that surprise in the middle of the competition.
Right.
And then we have our pit crew station set up with hot glue, duct tape, nails, and a ton of graphite.
That's always great. Yeah, especially too, it's good to do that because sometimes you'll get them where they'll put all the weight at the back of the car, and then when it gets to the bottom, it just pops a wheelie and
Which looks cool.
Usually it looks cool, but then it usually goes straight off track, and now
Yeah.
they've got to redistribute that weight a little bit to do it. So every pack does a little different. How do you guys handle your check-in? Some packs do it the night before and impound the cars. Others do it, an hour before race time. So how do you guys?
So we actually had to change things at the 11th hour last year. Last year, we booted up the laptop that runs the software connecting to the track. It actually does all the times.
Yep.
I should say we tried to boot it up. Apparently, the motherboard had baked itself,
Of
and
course
it was
it did.
destroyed.
Of course.
We also couldn't retrieve the registration key for it either.
Yes.
So we very quickly spun up one of the open source, I think it's called DerbyNet, onto a laptop. And so at the time of check-in, we had already taken photos of all of the youth participants as well as of their cars themselves. And so at check-in, we had a team at the front table with a tablet who were able to link up the photos of the car and the youth. After they do a test run, weigh, measure, they could check them in and it would add them into the system. We're probably going to repeat that a little smoother this year with a dedicated photo booth area set up. And because when they actually go to race, up on the projection screen up on the stage, it puts up the current racer and their car and switches between it for them.
Yeah, that's cool.
It makes it really exciting when they get to see,
So it
their
sounds
work.
like you do your check-in and weigh-in the night before?
We do
Or
it the day of
you
the
do it day
morning.
of,
Yes,
okay.
yes, right as they're
Okay.
coming in. That way we know exactly who is here, who is not.
Okay.
And there's that opportunity for if there's any siblings that are kind of entering the sibling race at the 11th
So how far ahead do you have, I mean, you're saying you have a pretty large pack. How far ahead are you starting check-in to make sure you get everybody processed in time?
The system actually worked so well for us, knock on anything made of wood. We were actually able to get everyone processed within about 30 minutes of
that's good.
start time. It was
Okay.
pretty quick and painless. And that was, again, programming it all the night before.
Yeah. So during the race itself, you obviously, what kind of assistance do you have? Parents help out? Do you have older scouts from the troops come in?
In the last couple of years, we've had older scouts from the troops come and help out. Also, it's always kind of that crossover time with the Arrow of Lights.
Yeah.
And so many times it'll be specifically the Arrow of Lights returning, those who have crossed over, simply because they want to get that one last opportunity to also race a car. So there is a heat just for them as well.
Yeah. So where do you hold your race? At the same place that you meet for your pack meetings?
We're lucky enough to have a large fellowship hall at the church, and we are able to fit our racetrack across the front with plenty of seating in the back for all of the spectators as well.
As I was preparing for this today, I saw there was a video that National produced. If you go out on YouTube, you can find it, where they had a Pinewood Derby at a council where the race was at Texas Motor Speedway. So how cool is that to have a Pinewood Derby at Texas Motor Speedway. William Byron, who is a NASCAR racer, is an Eagle Scout. He proudly does it. He's had his car decorated with it. I believe he was there to actually do it. The Scouts got to go through the pits and all. It was really cool. So it's always fun, if you can have it at a fun place to do. You're obviously there for a while. So what do you do to keep everybody entertained? Do you sell or offer food for people, or?
We've had snacks available in the back before. Honestly, it was running so smoothly and quickly last year. I think having that system kind of in place already, and then having the older youth participants at the scout level running to get the cars to put them up. We were able to have another computer running that would show who's on deck, and that's the big thing. I think having the helpers actually get the next set of cars ready on the tracks, ready to go.
Yeah, so you're not waiting for those long pauses in between to get the cars ready
I think
to go.
last year at a pack of approximately 35 scouts, we were able to have the entire race completed, each scout on each lane of a 6-lane track.
That was my next question, is how big is your track? And so it's 6
6-lane
lanes.
track, and we
So
want to
they're
make
doing
sure
at
there's
least-
not that
So they're racing at
one
least
that's
6
bad.
heats.
I think we were able to complete everything in just under an hour and a half.
Wow.
So it wasn't much longer than a normal pack meeting, really, not counting the check-in time that was available up front.
And how do you do your awards? Is it by den? Do you do an overall? Or what do you?
We split ours up. We do by top 3 by den, top 3 overall as well. And then this year we're going to introduce some of the player's choice, where the parents and families can actually vote on best decorated, coolest looking. And we've been kicking around the idea about the Turtle Award.
The Turtle, I've heard of the Turtle Award.
Which one took the longest time to complete. So we are able to actually track.
Who was the slowest
down.
car?
Yes.
Yeah, that's.
Vinny, I'd like to jump in here real quick.
Yeah, go ahead.
Obviously, they're very advanced in how they manage their race.
Yes.
It's impressive to watch.
It is.
Truly is.
Yeah.
Not every pack out there is going to have those resources.
That's true.
So, some of the old manual methods with you get a couple of scouts down at the end gauging which car finished first and such. And way back in the day when the world was in black and white, in my day, we actually, managed the cars manually across a stage to who won, who lost and stuff.
Yeah.
Those ways still work. They do. They take a little longer.
Yeah.
So you're not going to get done in an hour and a half.
No.
Right.
With that. But what Nate's talking about is a pretty cool way to do it. If you've got the opportunity to do that, give it a shot.
Yeah, the electronic finishing systems are very cool. They're not cheap either.
Oh, no.
So
Oh,
I
no.
know there's a lot of packs that rent out their tracks for other packs to use, just because.
To be honest, ours is a hand-me-down, I believe. When we obtained it, it didn't work, but we have some electronics specialist in our pack, and it was rebuilt and brought back to life, actually. So
That's great.
when we obtained it, it was just for the aluminum track itself, and then the timer came later.
Yeah, I know when I was a Cub Scout, back when TV was in black and white, it seems, we were chartered to a fire department, and obviously no electronic finish line. There was their first use of a video camera that they trained, and it was hooked up to an old-fashioned VCR, and that was, if they needed to, they could go to the replay and rewind it and look to see.
And it could be that simple today, too, with
Yeah.
just a webcam on a laptop or something.
Yeah.
So as people this is what you might want to aspire to.
Yeah.
But it can be done in simpler ways, more
Oh, yeah.
cost-effective ways. Scale it to what you've got, what your capabilities are.
Yeah.
But the key operation there is have a lot of fun with it.
Oh yeah, yeah. If you're not having fun, there's something wrong, because that is,
Right.
this is one of those events where you want the kids to be, jumping up and screaming and yelling and cheering on everybody and having a good time, and
Yeah, that fellowship hall, you cannot hear yourself think while you guys
Oh,
are racing.
no, not at all. It's very loud.
Bring
Yeah.
earplugs with you. That's anything else regarding Pinewoods that you think any cool ideas? Oh, I didn't. So have you ever used your Pinewood as a recruiting event, like we talked about in the membership moment?
We have not, actually. That was an interesting one to think about. I know that there are, we had been talking about sending home the individual You're Invited cards with some of the Cub Scouts within the pack. And it's something to think about. Maybe specifically the cards to be handed out could include come to the Pinewood Derby.
Yeah.
Like Because it is much more exciting than you might attend a really exciting den meeting, or even worse is if you send it out amongst all of the grade levels. Well, what happens if your bear den is doing an outing that night,
Right.
and a third grader shows up?
Yeah. Yeah, and I mean,
So it's a good idea, really.
open houses can be a lot of fun, but what could be more fun than Cub Scouts' signature event, which
Right,
is the Pinewood
exactly,
Derby?
yeah.
So that's great. All right, thank you guys. All right, it's now time for our. Oh, I'm sorry. Before we go on, I'm getting a hand wave. We have some questions. Yes, Sherry.
This question goes back to the freeze out.
Okay, sure.
Sit back.
Can supervision be
go get
their
coffee.
legal guardian, or does it have to be an adult leader?
For Cub Scouts, it has to be a parent or legal guardian. It does not have to be a pack leader. So at the Cub Scout level, parent or legal guardian is sufficient for that supervision. But like I said earlier, it cannot be a drop-off event. You have to actually stay and at least walk around with them. So, bundle for the weather, because it could be like it is outside right now, or it could be 50 degrees. You never know.
Right.
Okay? All right. Now it is time for our second hot topic, and it is about the planning for your PAC's Blue and Gold Banquet. Anthony Berger is back with this new video, so let's have a look.
Here's a little Cub Scout trivia for you. Do you know the story of the first Blue and Gold Banquet and what its purpose was? Today, the Blue and Gold Banquet is associated with the Scouting anniversary in February, and we describe it as the birthday party for Cub Scouting. However, that isn't the origin of the event. Welcome to Roundtable as we explore the Blue and Gold Banquet and learn from each other some proven techniques that make it one of the highlights of the Cub Scouting year. Back to our story. In 1933, only 3 years after Cub Scouting was officially launched, the Cub Scout Leader Roundtable, a publication that nothing like we know Roundtable today, it was suggested that PACs organize parent Cub dinners. The first record we have of a Blue and Gold Banquet is from PAC 1 in Michigan City. At the time, the PAC was organized by the mothers of the neighborhood. They noticed a lack of participation from fathers and decided to hold a parent Cub dinner. Now, the dinner had a catch. You had to come with your own homemade utensils, forks, knives, and spoons. The idea was to have an activity where fathers and sons could do something together in order to attend the banquet. Over time, the concept of conducting an annual banquet caught on, and soon PACs across the country adopted the parent Cub dinner and put their own twist on the event. It wasn't until 1943 that the term Blue and Gold was coined and became associated with the anniversary of Scouting. So this makes the Blue and Gold Banquet the oldest Cub Scouting tradition that we have that was started by a unit that became a national phenomenon. Now, I share this bit of history with you to demonstrate a very important fact about the Blue and Gold Banquet. Your Blue and Gold Banquet is your banquet. I've seen PACs all over the country, and I've never seen the same Blue and Gold Banquet. I recommend that you watch the online training module in Cub Scout position-specific training. Now, this is for all positions, and it's simply called Involving Adults in Cub Scouting. It's less than 9 minutes, and it will teach you proven techniques to get more parents and leaders involved in any activity your PAC does, such as the Blue and Gold Banquet. Remember that this is a way to build a community among your parents and leaders. It does not have to be a celebration of the Scouting anniversary, and it doesn't have to be when everyone earns their rank. Now look, I'm not suggesting that you throw this great tradition out the window. If you do use your Blue and Gold as a celebration of the Scouting anniversary or as a celebration of rank advancement or both, and everyone loves what you're doing, keep doing it. But if you find that your PAC Blue and Gold isn't bringing families together and is not helping you to build a PAC community, then perhaps it is time to rethink what your PAC is doing. Blue and Gold is a way to bring your parents, leaders, and Cub Scouts together to build a sense of community. That's the whole idea of the original banquet. If you can, this is also an opportunity to engage the community at large by inviting local officials, teachers, and principals. And of course, remember, extend invitations to your charter partner too. Evaluating your blue and gold annually ensures success. Now, we're going to cover 4 steps to planning, and at the end, we want you to share with your fellow Cub Scout leaders. Step 1 is to gather the leadership and families of your pack and have a conversation about your blue and gold. What have you done in the past? What does everyone like? What are things people don't like? If you could do anything to bring families together in your pack, what would you do? It should be something special that everyone looks forward to. Now, here are some details to consider as you're having this discussion about your blue and gold and what it will look like. So, will you have food? And if so, what meal? Yes, your blue and gold could be a breakfast event. Will everyone bring something? Will it be prepared? Perhaps even catered? Does anyone in the pack have a connection with a restaurant or a food industry? A tip from the experts: consider a lunch on a Saturday or some other time where people are available to help set up and can enjoy the event without being rushed or worried about bedtimes or homework. Now, our pack decided that since we all wanted to enjoy the event with our families, none of us really wanted to cook for everyone. So this led to learning that our pack secretary had a connection with the local Cattlemen's Association. And the Cattlemen's Association agreed to come out and cook for our blue and gold. And families would bring one side and one dessert. This became our pack tradition. And that was one way we were able to build our pack community. Step 2 is to consider the location of your blue and gold. Now, the right location can really elevate your event. Here are some questions you should consider when discussing location. Space, right? Of course, can it accommodate all the families in your pack? Does the facility have all the needed things that, if you're going to serve food, can accommodate? What about tables and chairs? What about parking? And is it a place that people can easily get to? Is there a fee to rent the facility? Now, step 3, decide on a time and date. The type of meal, if you decide to have one, will certainly guide the time of day you hold your blue and gold. When it comes to setting the date, be open to alternative dates. Good event planning requires that you have at least 2 backup dates. Now, this allows for the person who's going to confirm the facility the ability to pick an already approved alternative date without having to go back to the committee for approval. Now, step 4, real simple, and it's the most fun. How will your pack make your blue and gold over the top spectacular? Plan for some entertainment. What do I mean by entertainment? Well, that's where the fun comes in. What do your families enjoy? This was always one of the most interesting conversations in our pack, and I learned so much about other people's interests. A tip from the experts here: you don't have to spend a lot of money or even any money on entertainment. There are some great options for free entertainment from other organizations who also have an interest in helping you build and maintain your community. Now, make no mistake, your pack is helping to do just that. Your blue and gold can become more than just a banquet. It can help define your community. 1, discuss what you want to accomplish with your blue and gold and how. Step 2, identify a location. Step 3, set a time and date with alternative dates. And step 4, make it special. How will you make your blue and gold stand out, and how will it help build your scouting community? All right, now it's your turn. Take the remainder of this time to discuss one or more of these questions. Remember to share successes and challenges. You may be surprised to find others have found solutions to the same challenges you're facing. Do you have what you would consider a great blue and gold? If so, share with the group what makes it special. What things do you do right to make your blue and gold successful? What is your greatest challenge with blue and gold? Has anyone had the same challenge and found a solution that works for them? And lastly, what plans do you already have for your blue and gold banquet? That's it for now. Have a great blue and gold, and we'll see you next time.
Okay, back now with Nathan and Stephen. So let's talk about how your units handle the blue and gold banquet. So first question, they talked in the video about when to hold it. A lot of packs traditionally hold it in February because they're celebrating the birthday of Cub Scouts. As we learned in the trivia, that wasn't really how it started, but so when do you guys hold your blue and gold?
We do go with February, and we treat it as the birthday of Cub Scouts.
Okay.
Yep.
Talk about some of the things that you do. Is it usually the same every year? Do you change it up, or what, how do you handle it?
Last number of years, we actually kind of keep it a little bit low key. We treat it as a potluck, so all the families bring different dishes along. And then that is actually in honor of the birthday aspect. Not only do we have balloons, streamers, maybe some decorations on the table, but we have actually in the past, that is when we will hand out the Pinewood Derby cars, because we roll the cost of those into our annual dues.
Okay.
And then there's been times where we will actually wrap them in birthday gift wrapping.
Yeah.
And then there is the present for Cub Scouts' birthday given to each of the scouts.
Yeah, and we didn't talk about that in the last segment, but yeah, there is timing of when do you give them, my pack when I was a Cub Master, we did it at the December pack meeting, and Santa would come and hand out, the gift-wrapped Pinewood kit.
I had that as myself as a kid.
Cubs never caught us like, boy, our presents all look the same. And it's like, oh, well, it's the Pinewood kit, yeah. So, okay, so you give out the kits in February. So when do you hold your Pinewood?
We usually do our Pinewood right at the end of March. So we get the entire month there to kind of work on it throughout, and then schedule bigger work sessions in there as well.
Yeah.
Yep.
So in the video they talked about, there's not the debate, but different schools of thought on what do you do at the Pine or at the Blue and Gold?
Oh, right.
So do you give out awards, or is yours strictly a celebration, have fun day?
So we do hand out our awards at that one. So much like a pack meeting for any of the belt loops, we try to encourage structuring the plan throughout the year to get the required belt loops completed by then, so that they may be able to make rank by the blue and gold. Now that doesn't always happen, weather might not cooperate or various things, but then that gives plenty of time for the rest of the season to work on all of the elective belt loops and adventures that the youth might be interested in doing, and it kind of gave them time to think about what do they want to do there's so many belt loops and adventures.
Sure.
You can't really do them all. So we try to aim for that so that it's a little bit of a bigger award ceremony for each of them. And then we, especially when it comes to the rank level, we'd always make sure to have the parents come up as well when they get awarded that, since mom, dad, grandma, grandpa, whoever, were right there along with
Absolutely.
them. And then there will also be some of the other additional awards that might have come up throughout the years. Adult leaders earning knots, things like that.
Yeah.
Make it a little more formal,
Yeah.
but again, we like to keep it a little more low-key, not too stressful.
And as a reminder to everybody, we didn't mention it in the last segment, but one of the new belt loops that your Cubs can earn is a belt loop for the Pinewood Derby.
Oh.
So make sure that everybody, if you participate in the Pinewood Derby, you should be earning that belt loop. So that's.
I didn't know that. Did you know that?
I
did not know that.
All right,
Now,
This is why we go to Roundtable.
this is why you go to Roundtable, to learn things like this. That perfect tie in there. We couldn't have planned that any better. All right. Do you or have you ever done your Arrow of Light crossovers during your Blue and Gold?
Oh, we tend to work in conjunction with the troops because they will have a kind of welcome to the next level of scouting camp out. And so that usually is a little later in the season, I believe more in March, simply because February is very cold.
Yeah.
Well, the crossover oftentimes occurs in February. That's a Cub Scout ceremony.
The crossover.
Yes,
The
yeah.
crossover
The
ceremony.
induction into the troops
That's true, yes.
occurs at like a week later
Yeah.
at a February camp out where we invite the new scouts, their parents, their grandparents, their siblings, whoever. They come out Saturday for dinner, the induction ceremony and stuff.
Oh, all right.
Then March, we follow up with what you're thinking of, which is our show and do camp out, where
That's the one,
we teach
okay.
them everything they need to know to have fun on a camp out, and then we
Yeah.
immediately go into warm weather. So
Yeah.
by the time
It's a
the
win.
cold
Works
weather
out
comes
good.
around again, they know what they're doing.
Yeah.
So
Yeah, my troop does something similar. We call it Camping 101, but
Yeah,
kind of
same
the same
concept.
Kind of the
Yeah.
same concept. So you talked about you do serve food and you make it a potluck. Does your pack do any food? Like when I was a Cub Master, we would do a potluck where every den would. You probably do the same. Every den brings something different. The Tigers bring the drinks and somebody brings this.
right.
But then the pack would. We always used to get the Giant Eagle fried chicken because it's so good. But that was the one thing. That was the
yes.
one thing that the pack would
Right.
chip in to serve, and then, the families would fill in around that.
Keeping with the birthday theme, in the past, we've had the sheet cake.
The sheet
that
cake.
would be,
That-
yes. We
Yep.
obtain the cake for the
Yeah.
birthday celebration. Yeah.
So do you then do any special activities? Do you have any entertainment that you do at your Blue and Gold beyond just awards and stuff?
This is the chance where we actually have the dens, we try. Lions, it's sometimes a little
It's
tricky.
a little harder.
Where they get their first chance to perform the skits.
Yes.
The parents and the families. And then last year, there was also a few of the belt loops where they kind of had to present something at the table. I know the Tigers last year did it's the adventure with magic and mysteries,
Yeah.
I believe, or mysteries and intrigue. And so that was their opportunity. They went around to each table, and so they performed the magic tricks. So they sort of were the entertainment for
Yeah.
the tables.
Okay. That's great that they get involved in that, and it's something that they've been working towards
Right.
For a few months. Okay. Anything else that you want to add about how you specifically do your Blue and Gold?
No, again, I mean, it's so different now than when I was
Yeah.
in Cub Scouts versus, I'm sure, yourselves. And
yeah.
it's, as long as it's fun and recognizes the youth, whatever works for your unit.
Right. Yeah. As the video even said, there is no one size fits all. Everybody's different, and there is no right or wrong way to do, whether it's Blue and Gold or Pinewood, or if you do the Rain Gutter Regatta or whatever else. There is no right or wrong way to do that. All right. Well, finally tonight we've got our council program moment where we want to give you a save the date location on an event that's been around and used to be just for Canal District, but it's now been opened up to all PACs council-wide, and that is the Cub Scout Chariot races. So, Poorman, this is where you're up.
Yeah.
We've got the slide up here
What do we
that we're
got
going to
going?
put up, where you can talk about. Can we get that slide back up there, Steve? Where you were talk about the.
I didn't know
There
I
we
needed to
go.
bring my binoculars.
Yeah.
Okay. The Chariot race, this January will be our 4th Canal District Chariot race. We started very small, got a little bigger, and now that we're opening up to all Cubs in the council, we're hoping for even more. More Cubs equals more fun, any way you look at it. Last year, we had 60 Cubs, 19 teams from 5 PACs. So I'm looking for all of you to make that different this year.
Yeah.
I want bigger numbers. What it is teams of 3 Cub Scouts and a cardboard box chariot that is, there's instructions on making it and designs and stuff out on the registration page on the council.
Do they have to
webpage.
provide the boxes?
Yeah, they got to provide the box
Okay.
and all the stuff. It's basically a box, and Vinnie, I think you mentioned earlier about decorating things, and when you and I were talking.
Yeah.
Yes, decorate the box. You'll see from some of the pictures that we'll go through here. The boxes are quite entertaining. I just found the lowering thing on my chair.
Fortunately, you weren't on camera, so that's okay.
Right, really. But where was I? But yeah, the rules, the construction diagrams and such are all out on the registration page. The cost of this is $10 per pack. Not per cub, not per den, per pack. You can bring as many cubs as you want.
And you can have as many teams
as many teams as you want. I think 3001 had 16,
A lot.
17?
Yes,
Yeah.
a lot.
$10, cost them $10. And the $10 just goes for helping to pay rental and stuff. This is done at Higher Community Learning Center in the east side of Akron, pretty central to the whole council. We take over their gym, and Higher has been incredibly supportive and helpful when we've been out there. So we have a lot of fun. Nate, is there anything you want to add as far as from a Cub Scout perspective? I'm looking at it from the guy who's
Right.
trying to put the program on.
So I did it for the first time 2 years ago when my son was a lion. This is a lot of fun, actually. First thing, we will note, U-Haul has the perfect size boxes. If you go there, we learned that last year, and they're not going to fall apart on you.
Yeah.
Also, as much as you think a microfiber towel would be smoother, it is the opposite, actually, we learned last year. More surface area, apparently, grips too much.
Okay.
It doesn't move at all when they go pulling.
Yeah.
But no, we break our dens up. 3 per team. They each build their own box, their own chariot. The first year, my son's team, it was SpongeBob. Traditional square. It was great.
Yeah, perfect for
Last
that.
year, Turtle, which was applicable when we found out about the microfiber towel.
Yeah.
And then seeing them learn physics in real time. So you've got 2 scouts pulling the chariot with the 3rd scout sitting in it.
Right.
Well,
Okay.
when you come to that 180-degree turn, the scout on the inside has to stop running.
Yes.
While the one on the outside has to continue the curve.
Yeah.
That doesn't always go as smoothly as you or I would expect because
goes
they're
as
little. It goes
expected.
as expected,
Yes,
yes.
yeah.
It is a lot of fun. There's a lot of wee, and it's very exciting. They're cheering at the sidelines.
There was an episode of Friends about pivoting, I think.
Yes,
that,
yes.
mentioned that. So, yeah. So we've got a video that we're going to show here.
Oh, yeah.
That talks about it, and you're going to narrate on this here. So let's take a look and see. This is from a previous event. This is from last year.
This year, last January, yes. This is our Parade of Champions. We start off by walking all the cubs around the race course. Gives them a little bit of an idea of what's to come.
And there they
And
go.
there they go racing with a start 2 teams at a time. Yes, we did have a GoPro in one of the boxes, one of the chariots at one point. And I'm not sure in this race we had a wipeout, but you see all those road cones around there. We get those from Manitowoc. And when the first time I went to Manitowoc and told them I needed 50 road cones, they kind of looked at me a little funny, but they gave them to me.
Yeah.
And we, in true scouting fashion, we returned them, clean.
And there's some of the examles of the designs. There's one that looks
Yes.
like the fighter pilot and look like they're.
They were dressed up in
Top Gun.
attire and everything, and it was quite a bit of fun.
Yeah.
So I definitely encourage folks to participate. It is a great activity. Have family come. We have the stands in the higher gymnasium, so people can see the races and stuff. Bring family. It's a lot of fun. The racing starts at 9. Now that's a hard scouting 9 o'clock in the morning, which means
So
9-ish.
9-ish.
Yeah.
9-ish. We'll have the doors to the building open probably by 8:30, maybe 8. So if you need to finish assembly, we have an area over in the cafeteria across the hall from the gym where that can be done. We'll have a lot of volunteers around if you need advice or anything like that. We try to make it all work real well. Do please register online.
Yep. And the address is at the bottom of the screen there.
For hire.
For scoutingevent.com
Yeah, okay, that one.
to sign up, and that also has, I believe, on there the link to the rules as well.
Right, the document with the rules and the construction diagrams and stuff are all out on that registration page. If you have a question on something, my email address is on that registration page. So if you want to ask a question, go to that registration page. You can email me, but also while you're there, register your pack.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, as far as walk-ins, if you decide that Saturday morning you're going to throw a box together and come quick, we can handle a certain number of them. But the more folks that register in advance, the better I'm able to scale up the number of volunteers that I have. I have enough to readily run 60 cubs. If I know we're having 80 or 90 cubs, I'm going to be reaching out a bit more and grabbing a few more bodies to come in and help just direct little traffic around the building and stuff.
Yeah,
So-
because Troop 1 and Troop 7001, you guys are basically the facilitators of the event as
Right.
far as running it and acting as traffic cops and
And we use every
herding the Cub Scout cattle and all of those fun
every
things.
adult and every scout that we can muster
Yeah.
out there. And if we go to 90 or so cubs, we'll be reaching out for some help for some
Yeah.
other units. But it is a load of fun. In last year, we were done and everybody was gone by 1 o'clock.
Yeah.
If we get that many more, it'll go a little longer. We do run a concession stand, and the proceeds from the concession stand, the profits from the concession stand, go to buy things like the awards and the ribbons and things like that. The $10 you pay is going to defray other costs associated with it.
So there are awards that they will.
Yeah, we do first, second, third place by age brackets that we will determine based upon how many cubs in each age group
Okay.
show up. We have try for an overall. We last year handed some awards to the scouts from Troop 7001 and Troop 1 and said, go figure out who had the prettiest chariot, and walked away and let them do. They did a great job, you know. Never send an adult to do a scout's
That's-
job. I heard
that's-
that from somebody once.
Yeah. Some guy in England, I think, might have
Yeah.
said that.
But I think that's basically the message for it.
Yeah.
We're geared
yeah.
up for it.
So,
We're looking forward to it.
Like we said, this is an event that's been held for the last 4 years, specifically for Canal District. It's still a Canal District event, but it's been opened up to the rest of the council to
Absolutely.
participate in. So
Come on down.
come on down. Happy to do it. It's a really cool event. A good fun activity in the winter months because if it's
That's a key point.
if it's chilly,
it's indoors.
It's indoors.
It's
yeah.
indoors in January. Keep that in mind.
Yeah, because like we said before, you could have a foot of snow or you could have 50-degree weather, but
Right.
it doesn't matter because we're indoors.
We're indoors.
All right. Well, thank you guys. We appreciate you coming out for that. That is going to do it for us tonight. I want to thank our speakers and all of the others who helped us behind the scenes. Our next Cub Roundtable will be right back here on YouTube Live on Thursday, January 2nd. Now, to close out tonight, we have a video from the National Council that you can use in your recruiting events and on your unit's social media that shows families Cub Scouts having fun doing what else? The Pinewood Derby. Thank you for all you do for Scouting. Have a Merry Christmas and Happy Holidays. Have a great holiday season. We'll see you on the trail. Good night, everyone.